Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. This is the spot to watch in the Caribbean, Central and Western Caribbean, as we go over at least the next week or so. Now, there's a higher probability as each day passes that a tropical storm develops in the Caribbean. Not positive one is going to develop yet, but as we go day by day, the chances are increasing. So I like to let you know everything I'm seeing out there, and that rain threat is going to be substantial. So I want to cover that model by model, what I'm seeing as we look ahead for that chance of development in the Caribbean. There are the remnants of Oscar. It was a crazy day in Bermuda yesterday with gusty winds and some of that rain around. And this here is Kristy, a powerful hurricane in the Eastern Pacific. I'll show you the modeling on that in a moment. But let's start with what we're seeing with that future development or the possibility of it. Cayman Islands, Jamaica, here's Cuba, Belize, Honduras, Nicaragua. This has been the biggest hotspot this hurricane season. Water temperatures here are conducive for development. About 30 degrees Celsius. We're running 84, 85, 86, 87 degrees Fahrenheit in some spots in here. Plenty warm with the water temperature. So what are the models seeing? Well, the American model has this becoming a hurricane. It's been insistent on developing an area here. Now, eventually a hurricane, but in the short term, or at least before that, it would be a tropical storm first, right? So it's going to be kind of a slow progression as far as this area ramping up. Now, the Canadian model on the flip side does not have this becoming a tropical storm. And that's interesting because the Canadian model sometimes is aggressive with developing things. It did also pick up on Hurricane Oscar when nothing picked up on it, but it doesn't have anything developing now. The European model now is starting to get on board with development. And that's why I mentioned each day it looks more and more like we are going to see something forming in the Caribbean. The European model says, hey, this area is going to be tropical depression, maybe a tropical storm. We'll cover that further. The ICON model still not showing signs of development. So what is the American model seeing? Now, this is kind of the scarier scenario. I'm not showing you this is just what it is, right? This is not necessarily what's going to happen, but I want to show you the models, but I'll show you some other ones as well that are not showing this. But as of now, I know this is being splashed out there on social media, and it's plausible that this area does develop into a hurricane. But the American model is showing an area developing near Jamaica next week, eventually developing into a tropical storm near Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, and then lifting up to the north, potentially as a hurricane. That's what the American model is showing now. It's what it was showing yesterday as well, and even the day before. It's been pretty consistent on showing a hurricane. Now, as we look at some of the other models, I mentioned the Canadian model. That is not showing a named storm. But one thing that's catching my attention with the Canadian and even the ICON German model is while both aren't developing a storm, right? They're not showing a storm. They are showing the buildup of moisture here. So those four major models are at least seeing something, and that's why I'm trending toward, yeah, there's going to be some development because all of the models are seeing it. Now, the Canadian model is saying, though, it may not become a named storm, but there's going to be a lot of rain. So all of the models latching onto the idea of at least a heavy rain event as we swing back through the Caribbean. Now, what's the European model saying? Well, the European model is saying this will at least be a tropical depression, most likely a tropical storm. Tropical depression is right below tropical storm categories, tropical storm strength, and then above that, of course, is hurricane. It's saying sometime next week, we're going to see this area of rain building and something starting to spin up, most likely trying to move its way a little bit back toward the north or northwest. But this is different from what I've been seeing the last few days. The European model is trending toward now the idea of development, just like the American model, and that's why we need to pay very close attention to this in the Caribbean and, of course, elsewhere. Now, here's the American model. Now, this is the scarier of the models. Of course, remember, the ICON model, the Canadian model, not showing development yet, which is common at this point of the stage in watching this, that there's huge discrepancies. But what we're seeing is by the time we get into Saturday, a lot of rain's going to build in parts of Central America and the Western Caribbean. So the rain builds. That's the first sign. All of the models are seeing that. I like to give you the certainty in the forecast as well. That is what I'm going with. We're going to see a big rain event in parts of the Caribbean, Western Caribbean, and near Central America. On Monday, same thing. Almost all the models are showing this. Early next week, that's when the rain chance really builds further, and we're going to have to monitor that chance of flooding very carefully. Now, this is where things start to differ, and it makes sense because this is way down the road. Once we get deeper into next week, by the middle of next week, a couple of the models want this to become a tropical storm. Others just want to keep it a big area of rain. Either way, that's a big threat for us. We don't need a named system to cause that flooding, as we well know. But you see here, the American model, as we get into next Wednesday, about 6 days from now, is turning this into a tropical storm near Jamaica. My friends in Jamaica, thank you for sharing this channel to get the proper word out. I'm not saying it is going to be a tropical storm, but we do have that chance of one developing nearby. Where does it go? Well, it's going to really hinge on a front up to the north. First, we got to see if it develops. But the fronts up to the north, that's what's going to steer it. A front could kind of grab this, lift it to the north, or maybe the front misses it and it moves back to the west. But you see, over a week from now, the American model does want this area to become a strong tropical storm, then eventually even a hurricane, and then kind of lift its way up to the north. Will this happen? I don't know. I am not sure yet. This is 7-8 days away, right? There's not even anything there now. I do know there's going to be a lot of rain, though, and that is the biggest concern. And then in a couple days, I'll know if this scenario is going to play out. So point being, as you share this channel across Cayman Islands, Cuba, Jamaica, and elsewhere, I'll be able to give you advance warning well ahead of time if I see something developing. You'll know it here first if something is truly going to develop. I do this channel just for safety, just to get the facts out. So what do we know? Well, what we do know together is that this is going to be a significant flood threat. I'll have to fine tune where exactly. Could be near Jamaica, Cayman Islands. Maybe if this area swings back toward Belize, we could see some heavier rain. But there's going to be a lot of rain, central, western Caribbean. So what I'll be doing over the next few days is not just watching out for the possibility of development, but the first and foremost concern will be where the heaviest rain is going to set up. Regardless, if it is a named system, where we get the heavier rain, we're going to have that flood threat. So I'll track things for you island by island as we go forward right here on this channel. So you have plenty of advance warning, whether you're getting a ton of rain, nothing at all, or we see a developing system. Now, the next name on the list is Patty. Oscar fell apart. I'll show you that lifting up toward Canada. That was a big weather day yesterday in Bermuda. Patty is the next name on the list. So whatever area eventually gets a name, the next one is Patty. Raphael after that, then Sarah, Tony, Valerie, and William as we get down the list. Now, here's another hurricane, or at least a hurricane out there as we get into the eastern Pacific. Now, this is where I like it, right over water. I do not root for hurricanes. This is where we kind of want it. It moved away from Mexico. This here is part of the remnants from what we saw with Nadine, right? Some of that moisture was building and kind of worked its way into the eastern Caribbean and helped spin this area up. So this here is Kristy, and this will continue to work its way off toward the west. Now, what's going to happen? Of course, you got Hawaii over there. Well, in the short term, this is going to become a major hurricane. Already is. It is a major hurricane. I should clarify that. But it will be a major hurricane over the next couple of days. Winds right now about 140, 150. This thing is powerful out there over the water. But once we get deeper down the road, it's going to lift a little bit north in latitude. So here we are in Mexico. Here's Hawaii. Now, as it lifts a little bit more to the north, the water temperatures are cooler. Conditions above our heads are not as conducive for it to stay super strong. So you see, as we go out in time here, as this starts to make its move to the west-northwest, this is the American model, and all the models really show this. They show that weakening trend. This here is by Sunday. So with Kristy, overall, we should be in good shape with that one, staying over water. If there's any changes on that, I'll let you know. But Kristy is the name right now in the Eastern Pacific, a different set of names. Now, it didn't keep the name Nadine because the circulation did really fall apart, but some of the leftover moisture just rolled its way into the Eastern Pacific to kind of combine with a new system forming. So on the Eastern Pacific side, that area did get a new name, Kristy. Lane, Miriam, Norman, the next names on the list on the eastern, northeast Pacific side. Now, as we swing back here, of course, this is the spot we are watching for development. But as I mentioned, there is nothing now, but it is my job to look into the future for you, kind of see the potential of stuff elsewhere, some of the scattered showers and storms. And it's been one of those patterns for us in the Caribbean, be it Trinidad, Barbados, Grenada, Haiti, Dominican Republic, where if we have been dry, we have been so hot. Others, we've been getting some of those thunderstorms. So that pattern is going to continue the next couple days into tomorrow. But look what happens here. This is tomorrow afternoon, and let's swing forward into the weekend. Once we get into the weekend, that'll be the first signs that something is trying to develop. The first thing we're going to watch out for is that increased moisture. You see Costa Rica, Nicaragua, near Providencia, San Andres, right up toward Roatan, and then up toward, say, parts of Cozumel. As we get into the Yucatan Peninsula, heavier rain's going to build, and by the time we get into the weekend, I'll have a good handle on if this is going to spin up into a tropical storm or hurricane, and if it does, where it is going to go. So you have plenty of notice right here. Here's Bermuda. Boy, it was windy. It was so wet. There was flooding. Bermuda, built like a rock, though, handled this. The remnants of Oscar, not tropical in nature, got tied into a front as expected, and now it's lifting its way up toward parts of Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, as we work our way down the road. Prince Edward Island will even get some gustier winds over toward parts of New Brunswick. But for us in eastern Canada, it is right on track with that heavier weather, easily some spots over 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches of rain. There's going to be significantly higher totals, say over toward Newfoundland, over toward the Avalon Peninsula. Tonight into tomorrow, some of that heavier rain. Look at tomorrow. And of course, those gusty winds. Winds will be gusting over 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers an hour. We could have some gusts around 60 miles per hour right along the coastline, and then this area will depart. Another front will move through Quebec and kind of kick out those remnants of Oscar and get rid of that front. Of course, the seas are going to be really high. Here's meters, here's feet near Bermuda. And let's just kind of take a head down the road. This is Saturday. We'll get you into Sunday. What we're going to notice is as we go through the weekend, it is going to be a bit choppier in the central Caribbean and then building back toward the western Caribbean. This is by next week. And of course, if something does develop, those seas are really going to be building near Jamaica and the Cayman Islands as we work our way into the middle of next week. But still a wait and see on that. We're in the very infancy stages of tracking the possibility of development as we get into next week. But giving you the heads up, biggest threat will be that rain threat, and I'll be fine-tuning where that is. In the short term, look at us in the Bahamas. Not a whole lot of rain around. Cayman Islands, we could see some of those spotty showers and storms. A lot of blue on the map. Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, which means either we're not getting rain, or if you do get a shower or thunderstorm, 25 millimeters to an inch of rain will be possible. In Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, same thing through Dominica. Hit or miss storms over the next couple of days. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a slightly better chance. A lot of that moisture kind of pulling in near northern Guyana, near Suriname. And with that, we're going to see a better chance of rain over toward Trinidad, northeastern Venezuela. We could get a few spots over 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain. Keep me posted in the comments. And then a couple days from now, that's where we'll get most of this rain here, right along the coast, Nicaragua, brushing by parts of Honduras. We'll keep an eye on Belize, of course. But it's really as we get into the weekend, just watching that rain building somewhat on Friday, but even more so as we work our way Saturday into Sunday. Some of the rain totals very significant. Texas back through parts of Mexico, way too dry at this point. So scattered showers and storms possible in Jamaica, about a 50% chance. Rain chance Cayman Islands today, 20%, but by tomorrow and into Saturday, we're looking at about a 40% chance. And you see the next couple days, this is what I was mentioning, Trinidad and Tobago. We have a 50% chance. That's going to hold through the weekend. It's not a washout, but scattered areas of rain and storms. Barbados, a 40% chance today and a 30% chance for tomorrow. Get back through St. Lucia, same thing. 40% chance today, 30% chance for tomorrow. And then you see a 50% chance for us in Grenada. Same thing as we saw in Trinidad over the next few days, right through the weekend, some scattered showers and storms. St. Vincent the Grenadines, about a 40% chance, better chance south across the Grenadines of seeing some of those showers as we swing into the upcoming weekend. Next 2 days, Martinique, 40 to 50% chance, and the next 2 days in Dominica, about a 40 to 50% chance. Saturday, we're going to have a 20% chance, holding at about a 30 to 40% chance the next 3 days in Guadeloupe. Rain chance for today, about 40% Antigua and Barbuda, 30% chance tomorrow, 20% chance on Saturday. Rain chance a little lower, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. The next 3 days, a 20 to 30% chance of a shower. 20 to 30% chance will persist as we get to the north, even a little bump up on that tomorrow, Anguilla and St. Bart's, but a 20% chance on Saturday. Hit or miss shower, 30% chance today, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. A 20% chance tomorrow, 20% chance on Saturday. And in Puerto Rico, we're going to see isolated to scattered showers and storms today through the weekend, a 40 to 50% chance. About a 30% 50% chance U.S. British Virgin Islands. And of course, if we are dry, we're still on the hot side, especially where the breeze hasn't been persistent. It has been very, very hot. Bahamas, our rain chance has gone down. I was showing you that. Generally on the dry side, Turks and Caicos, hit or miss shower, about a 40% chance for tomorrow. Today, tomorrow, and Saturday, Dominican Republic, a 40% chance, and about a 20 to 30% chance in Haiti. Rain chance is not too high. Could see a shower popping up over toward Jacmel. Belize, about a 40 to 50% chance. But on Saturday, through the weekend, we'll be seeing that rain chance growing with that potential of development in the Western Caribbean. Aruba, 20 to 30% chance, holding on to that isolated 30% chance. Curacao and over in Bonaire. Let me know if you get a brief shower. Could see one for tonight. Guyana, the coastline, better chance of rain, 40% chance. Same thing in Suriname. The best chance will be our northern sections. And then as we get back through Cuba, isolated showers and storms, all eyes on what could be building to the south for next week. Costa Rica and Panama, 50% chance today, 60% chance tomorrow, 70% chance on Saturday. Nicaragua, 40% chance today, up to a 70% chance favoring our eastern sections, Caribbean side, once we work our way into the upcoming weekend. Same thing in Honduras. We're going to monitor that flood threat very carefully depending on what tries to develop and where the heaviest rain will be. Guatemala and El Salvador, by the weekend, the rain chance will start to inch up. Only a 20% chance in Mexico City. Rain chance the next couple days, Yucatan Peninsula stays limited, but it will start to bounce up as we get into the weekend. Northern Colombia, 30% chance over the next 3 days, about a 40% chance in northern Venezuela, and finally a big difference in Bermuda with what's left of Oscar getting out of the picture. So all eyes on the Caribbean. The rain's going to build. The flood threat is getting higher. The chance of a storm, tropical storm developing is starting to creep up. So I'm going to watch out for signs of development. Know that I'm tracking the weather nonstop behind the scenes. Watching in the meantime some of that heavier rain lifting up to parts of the Atlantic region of Canada. What was in Bermuda yesterday kind of scraping by the Atlantic region of Canada. Let me know how you're doing, of course, in the comments. So thank you for sharing this channel to get the proper word out about what may or may not develop, some of the uncertainty I'm tracking, and most importantly in the short term, that flood threat that is getting higher. So thank you for being part of this channel. Have a good rest of your day.